The people doing the roofing have seemed to stop now, which is nice because I wanted to do things today. Um, yeah, so I took color theory during COVID and I failed. I got kind of overwhelmed. I I got overwhelmed during COVID. And I was just like, I don't want to do school anymore. I'm not going back to school. I'm gonna do work, and that's just gonna be me. And now I've come back to school, and now I'm like, okay, I love school now. All of a sudden, um, so I failed during COVID, and then my mom was taking some classes at the JC and the junior college, and she was like, "You have to take this color theory with this class, like, or with this teacher, like." She's so good, like you're gonna love her. And like she kept introducing me to the teacher. She'd be like, "Hey, this is my son, like, oh my god, you guys should meet." And it was so awkward, and I love my mom, but it was a little embarrassing. Um she really wants me to take that class, but I kind of don't want to take it. I don't really want to retake the class. The thing was is that it was kind of like a painting class, and I wasn't expecting that when I first took the class. So you have to paint all of these strips of color, and it's like I already took the class, and I might have failed, but I did learn something from it, you know? So like I don't want to take it. So instead, I actually enrolled for a graphic design color theory class recently. It's a late start, so it's a little, it started in March. I think the end of March. So I kind of just started. But I took it because I had to drop my etching class because of my tendonitis. And so far I've kind of been enjoying it. Like it's kind of fun. But like I feel like before I kind of had a fairly good understanding of color already, so like it's not nothing in the class is like something new. It all just kind of makes sense. Like my teacher, they're like, "Oh, like red is so bold and it's so like in your face." And then they're like, "Oh, but blue is so calming." And it's like, "Okay, like I get this." And it's also like there's some things where it's like, "Oh, like what changes color?" And it's like, well, the colors around it. And then they go, "Wow, that was so smart." And it's just a lot of like color stuff that I already knew just from like working with digital art. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just something kind of straightforward, but it's kind of like fun. Like, I don't know. But like in the class, you're supposed to like become friends with the color, and each week you're supposed to like report back with 10 different like examples of where you found the color in the real world. So like, I saw a lot of red in like emergency stuff, like defibrillators and stop signs and roads and stuff, so you're supposed to like read an article about the color and like stuff like that. But it's really not. It's really a straightforward class. It's very like easy. The only problem is that it's a late class, so it's like from like 6 to 9:20 at night. Which is fine because I signed up for it, so I knew that. But it's just very late, so I get kind of tired, and then I'm in that mind. I'm like my stomach's growling in the middle of class, but I don't want to bring food. But yeah, like I already know about the color wheel and the complementary colors. Like when I think of the wheel, I can imagine where the colors are, so I know how it works. And I've been in printing classes or like printmaking classes, so like I know how the colors work well enough to make the colors, but to also work the colors with other colors. Like there was a screen printing class where I was supposed to, or where I was trying to make a brown color, but I didn't want to use brown, so I had a yellow background and I put purple, but like a really transparent purple on top, and then it made a brown color. So I know how it works, right? Um, but I think it's really important to learn about color theory in like a professional way, in a class. I'm just going about it in a different way by going through the graphic design option because I feel like it's actually learning, like I'm learning more than I would have in a painting class about color theory because my plans are to go into like some sort of graphic design kind of thing just because I hate working in food service and I would love to be able to work at a place where my wrist isn't like dying all the time. So that's my whole thing. Yeah, so I feel like also like if you learn about color theory, it's a lot easier to like break the rules in art, and it's really fun seeing how people use color to like mess around with things, and it's just fun and awesome. Also knowing about color theory kind of helps like elevate watching TV shows and movies, and you can kind of like see foreshadowing that the media will like show through the colors. So like recently, me and my friend were watching Captain America, and there's a scene where Peggy comes out, and it's like every time she comes out, she's wearing like a red dress of some sort, but it wasn't like a very bright red until one scene she was wearing like a super bright red, you know? And she always has bright um lipstick. And so she's meant to like pop out in that scene, especially because everyone and also the backgrounds are all these like neutral greens and browns of this like army base. So she's like meant to pop out in that scene, and I applaud Marvel for that. It was great. Or also in Jujutsu Kaisen, Gojo and Geto, they have like a certain color in the beginning of hidden inventory, but then their colors genuinely like switch. Like it's something I noticed and I was like, "Oh, I know what's going to happen," you know? Because their colors literally switched after the events of hidden inventory because their mindsets had changed towards the idea of killing and if it had a point, and it leads and like I want to say like Gojo was red at first and then it switched to blue. And it showed that their mindsets had actually switched from each other. And it was sick because I was able to see that through the colors being used and through the colors literally switching. I don't know if that's like crazy. I sound like a crazy person when I say that, like a conspiracy person, but it was genuinely a thing that happened. And then it led into their falling out. Like it showed their falling out a lot better if you like know what the colors are. So those are just my thoughts. I'm excited for this color theory class. I'm learning things, but I also know a lot of the stuff already because it's just like common sense. It's like you know how the colors work at this point once you're an art student. So I already know how they work, but it's interesting putting it also into like a digital aspect, like learning more about like Photoshop and like how it works, like CMYK and RGB and the other ones, and learning all of these different like modes of using them. So it's fun. I love taking classes at the junior college. I am having a blast. So that's all I had to say on that. So, bye.